Is the way in which we communicate caused by our genetics and the way in which we were born, or is it learned? Hi, I'm Ryan Williams, and today I'll be discussing the effects of the parent-child dyads on the gendered speech of the child themselves. More specifically, the heavy amounts of masculine speech from fathers to sons, and how it increases the polarization of gender roles and impedes young men's ability to create emotional relationship. I'll be discussing how a specific article relates to the concepts of gendered speech, which we have learned in class, the findings of the study itself, and how the concepts explored in the article relate to my own relationship between myself and my father. The article that I researched is called "Are Children Communicated With Equally? An Investigation of Parent-Child Sex Composition and Gender Role Communication Differences," from the academic journal Communications Research Reports. And it's basically about an investigation into the effects of the specific sex composition of the parent-child dyads and its effect on gendered language. If you don't know what a parent-child dyad is, there's basically four: father to son, father to daughter, mother to son, mother to daughter. And this all relates back to the concept of gendered speech, in which we learned in Chapter 3, which is basically the idea that there are two general ways in which humans communicate based on gender. That being masculine speech, which bases itself heavily on assertiveness and factual information, as well as feminine speech, which bases itself heavily on supportiveness and emotional value. The researchers' hypothesis is that communicated gender role messages will differ based on sex composition of the parent-child dyad. And the actual results and findings in which they found is that in both mother-daughter and mother-son dyads, the mother is more often communicating feminine gender roles to the children at very similar magnitudes. And in both father-daughter and father-son dyads, the father still communicates more masculine gender roles to both, but the father-son dyad is at a significantly higher magnitude, which basically means that fathers stress strong gender identity far more than mothers do. And this all actually relates back to my own relationship with my father. Growing up, my father always encouraged perfection, heavy assertiveness over my competition, whether this relates to sports, academics, and just work in general. While this has definitely been very positive to my success in my personal life and monetary life and career, I've never been able to form an emotional connection with him, and it has led me to virtually end communication with him. This has also heavily impacted my ability to communicate in a feminine manner in my own personal life and form close emotional relationships with people. But what I've learned from this article is that in order to break down this emotional block, I must forcibly attempt to communicate in a more feminine manner with my father, to create that emotional connection that was lost in our purely masculine relationship. The oversaturation of masculine speech from father to son dyads is what leads to many men's inability to participate in feminine speech, as reflected through the findings in the article, as well as my own relationship, of course. I know it is very important for fathers to be more aware of the rate at which they're participating in masculine speech in comparison to feminine speech and attempt to balance it, as well as for men in general to overcome the learned fear of feminine speech in interpersonal male-to-male communication in order to create the vital emotional relationships. Thank you.